Welcome. I'm Andrew Beach, Branding Dynamo. I help professionals communicate their values so they can find great new jobs faster. Today, we're going to talk about how do I find a job through networking and how do I know I'm doing networking right. And so, we're going to go through a series of slides as we normally do. I'm actually joined today by folks on Twitter Periscope. We decided to give them a chance because it's my birthday. Happy birthday to me. So, today we're going to be talking about am I doing networking the right way? And sometimes we don't know what networking is or even the definition. Someone just told us we're supposed to be doing it. And so, in my years and years, my 13 years now in coaching, I found that there's a simple set of principles that we need to remember whenever we're networking with people. So, if you would please let me know where you're tuning in from, slap me a like or a thumbs up. Leave some comments over here on the chat, the YouTube chat, and I'd be happy to answer those questions either during this live broadcast or afterwards. So, without further ado, let's jump into the presentation mode. Am I doing networking the right way? I think it's first important that we identify what is networking. Networking is a systematic process by which we interact with other human beings to demonstrate value and to build relationship. That's simply all it is. And that's typically for a mutual benefit. It's not all about me. And we'll get into that in a moment. It was interesting this week on FAQ Friday. One of the biggest things I saw over and over again this week was people didn't understand what is networking. They had this preconceived notion on what it was. And today I just want to clarify what it is and what it isn't. And so that's kind of what we're going to go through today. And so please bear with me as I get the slides going. So first of all, networking is not a meetup. It's not a place where you go and meet with a lot of people like the Chamber of Commerce and that sort of thing. Now, networking can happen at those events, but that's not what we indicate networking is. In terms of networking, these type of events where there's large groups is what I would refer to as top of funnel activity. These are identifying new contacts or connections that you didn't know before. So not that they don't have value, but that's not networking. That's prospecting. That's you identifying a new person to be networking with. And so that does have value. So in the scheme of things, networking is not a meetup. Networking is one-to-one. What do I mean by that? Well, networking traditionally is done face-to-face, one-on-one, maybe even over the phone, where you have a bidirectional communication about both persons' interests, areas of expertise, that sort of thing. And so it's a one-on-one activity where you're not only communicating your value, which is a small percentage of it, but you're also asking the other person about their value, okay? And so it's a one-on-one activity with purpose, okay? What is networking not? It is not about me. It is not about me. So the challenge that a lot of job seekers have, or people in career transition, or even people looking for a promotion, is they make it about themselves. And truthfully, that couldn't be more repelling. So really, it's about them, meaning the other person. So as long as you can make it about the other person by asking questions, showing interest, doing a little bit of research, demonstrating to them that you really care, I think that makes a huge difference. And so that's a mindset that we have to have when we come into these situations. Okay? Networking is not about a job. I know that you're in a job seeking mode or looking for a promotion, but networking is not about that. That might be an outcome or a side effect of the activity of networking, but it's not the main event, if you will. The main core purpose of networking is to find a need. And we can't offer a solution, i.e. our skill sets, until we have communicated to somebody or communicated with somebody that we've identified their need and understood what that need is. When I go to the doctor and, I have a headache, why would they, give me stuff for athlete's foot? It just doesn't make sense. So you're prescribing something when you haven't identified what the ailment is. That's called malpractice. So if you give a treatment before diagnosis, that's malpractice. And so let's not commit networking malpractice. So the idea here is that it's not about a job, it's about you identifying a need that they might not be aware of. And this works to your benefit because what we found is by identifying the need, you might actually create a job for yourself. And so that actually works out really well. So always be looking for a need. Networking is also not about your resume. In fact, leave your resume at home. Come into this interaction with open hands. Have a perception that you're not in it for yourself. And one of those ways to do that is to not bring with you your resume or any kind of brochure or things that describe who you are. It's to bring a folio, maybe with some questions in it, and say, hey, do you mind if I ask you some questions? Now, just as a side note, I do have a networking checklist on my website, andrewbeach.com. So if you're interested in finding out some of the checklist items that I coach my folks on in terms of networking, it's a great resource to know, hey, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? Go there, download the networking checklist. It's totally free. Just go to the website and plop in your email address and we'll send that off to you. Okay, so it's not about your resume. In fact, the resume changes the context of the conversation to one of strategic value and give and take to one of, oh, job seeker. And so typically when you introduce a resume into a networking situation, those conversations are really short, not very strategic, and they refer you to their friends in human resources, which you could do that on your own. Anybody can make an application at HR or through the online portals. That doesn't take a genius. So just be sure that you're careful not to introduce a resume until you've identified a need. Okay? And identifying that need and then modifying your resume, not falsifying your resume, modifying your resume to meet that need would be a logical next step. So don't make the resume part of the deal. What is part of the deal is your relationship. Here we're trying to build a relationship of trust and rapport. Okay, so the way we do that, asking questions, demonstrates interest. If we demonstrate interest most of this meeting, how's the other person going to feel? They're going to feel valued. If the other person feels valued and you're there, who are they going to associate that feeling with? They're going to associate that feeling with you. Okay, so the idea here is let's make it about the relationship and asking questions, not about a resume or a job. Okay. Now, another thing networking not is talking. So if you feel like you're talking the whole time, then you're probably doing it wrong. Okay. Now, obviously not everybody gets networking. They don't understand the value of it and they may not know what you know after you're watching this video. Okay. But it's not about talking. What it is about is asking and identifying questions to help somebody else from a position of contribution without any expectation of return is what networking is all about. In fact, there's a good book about this. When I was in BNI years ago, they had a book that everybody had to read. It was called Giver's Gain. And it was a thick book that demonstrated a simple concept, and that was, hey, people that give, get. And so the idea is you don't get until you give. People who get first have ulterior motives and aren't very attractive to other people. Okay? So now, what does this mean? This means that we have a series of things that we can do to make networking better and to actually have an opportunity to add value to a conversation. And so make networking about these things and not about the ones that don't matter. Okay. Now this leads me to an idea that I had just a few weeks ago, and that is I'm now creating a curriculum. And if you're joining us late, thanks. Just give me a thumbs up. Let me know that you can hear me. Leave any questions about career transition or promoting yourself in your career. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have. Okay, but I identified there's 3 steps to career success, and I'm going to put that into a online curriculum as well as an interactive learning experience with me. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to follow 3 steps. Okay, the 3 steps are: who are you? What do you want to do next? And how to meet the right people? Okay, so there's things there that are outside the typical idea of what career transition should be or finding a job should be. Most people think a job is, hey, I should have a resume. I should post it online. I should maybe make some online applications, and then I should cross my fingers that I actually get a call for an interview. Now, I take the opposite approach in that it all starts with the interview, meaning that's networking. And until you identify your product or service and who needs it, then the networking can't begin. Okay. So that's the 3 steps. Who are you? The second step is, what do you want to do next? Meaning, who are the people you should be meeting at your target companies? And number 3, how do I meet the right people? And that's what we're talking about today, is this idea of what makes networking and how do I know I'm doing it right? Okay. So if you go to my website, brandingdynamo.com, you'll actually see a box there where you can sign up to get on the wait list for the 3 steps to career success. Okay. So thank you for those folks that joined us on Periscope today, and those folks on YouTube, and this has certainly been posted on Facebook and LinkedIn. So wherever you're tuning in from, please go ahead and leave a comment, like my page, or ask me to connect on LinkedIn. I'm happy to connect with anybody. Just leave me a personal message on, hey, I watched your video. I really like that. Let's connect. Okay. Absolutely. I'm happy to connect with anybody. And so if you're interested in the 3 steps to career success, just go to brandingdynamo.com and get on the wait list. Okay. So that's it for today, folks, on my birthday. Happy birthday to me again. And my family's waiting for me. We're going to head off to lunch now. But I wanted to commit to making sure that you got your value today and that you have everything you need to make a difference in your networking and in your career. So this is Andrew Beach wishing you a happy weekend and happy networking. Take care now.